Hey everyone, this is Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com. I am back here with another hand history review for you guys. So this hand was sent to me by Simon from the UK. It was played on 888 Poker. As you guys can see, it is 1 cent, 2 cent, and this is 6 max. So Simon has King Jack offsuit on the button. So Villain 4 comes in for the 3 times the big blind raise there. Villain 4 doesn't play a huge role in this hand, so I'm not really going to go into his stats or any reads on that player. Villain 5 folds, and what should Simon do in this spot here? So the first thing that I always talk about in all of my videos, books, blogs, everything is what is the first thing that we always look at before anything else in poker, before HUD stats, before if you're playing live, before what the guy looks like, anything, is his stack size. Stack size is the most important thing in poker because it completely changes the complexion of the hand, and I'm talking about no limit, especially. This is not the case in limit hold'em, because there's structured bet sizings in that game, but in a game like no limit hold'em, it completely changes how we're going to play. It completely changes our implied odds, among other things. Basically, if we're looking around the table here, there's nobody that has more than about 50 big blinds. That includes everybody left in the hand, and Villain 1 to our left is pretty much broke completely, so he's about to go bust with anything. So what should you do in this spot? Well, this is a spot where I do like a 3-bet quite a bit, but I actually don't like it in this situation, and the reason why specifically just is stack size. I think that if we 3-bet to say 18 cents in this spot and we get called, it puts us in a really sort of gross spot. We're going to go with the hand if we hit a top pair, but a lot of times we're not going to hit that. It puts us in one of those spots where the villain doesn't have a whole lot of stack behind, and we might need to call off with hands like a gut shot and stuff like that, and it's kind of a gross spot. There's just not enough room to maneuver post-flop. So I kind of like, especially when we're in position like this, I like Simon's decision to just flat in this situation against a couple short stacks and just let them come in with their nonsense and basically, flop like that. That always helps as well. Let me get into the reads actually on these players real quick here. The player who's integral to this hand is Villain 2 in the big blind. And Simon described this guy to me as a VPIP of 29, a pre-flop raise. He said it's in the mid-20s. We'll say it's 25, whatever. And I can't remember the sample size, but essentially what that means is this player is kind of a loose aggressive. 29, 25 is kind of loose aggressive for 6 max. And the other thing, so he comes out and he just pots it straight away on the flop. So I talk a lot about sort of bet sizing tells and timing tells. I'm actually wrote an entire article actually about that a while ago on bet sizing tells and timing tells in online poker. I'll link that in the description below. But this is definitely one of them. When somebody comes in for just pots it straight away, especially into 3 players, I see this as like the little dog that's all bark, no bite, basically. I just don't see why anybody with a really strong hand would ever come out and just pot it straight ahead into so many players. I mean, especially when you're in this spot, you should be going for a check raise if you got a really big hand here, because that's the best way to get the most money in the pot. So when I see somebody who's like one of the first people to act and they're just potting it into a bunch of players, I see somebody who probably has something. He has something for sure. He's never doing this with ace-3. But he's probably got something like Queen Jack or something, and it's one of those, hey guys, please just fold. Like, I'm barking up a storm, I'm pretending to be really strong, but really I'm just kind of scared and hope you all fold. So when I see something like that, that's basically what I'm thinking. And I've got, Simon's obviously got top 2 pair, top 2 in this spot here, so not a whole lot to be worried against, especially given the stack sizes. We're never ever really, I'm not ever thinking about folding this hand against these stack sizes. So anyways, Villain 4 gets out of the way and Simon decides to call. I think calling is fine in this spot. There's obviously going to be a lot of nasty turn cards, but given what I just said, that I think that this is the kind of player who's kind of all bark, all bite in this spot here, is kind of trying to act really tough when he isn't. I actually like Simon's decision here a lot, because I think if you jam here, like if he's got a hand like Queen Jack or Ace Jack or something like that, it gives him an easy kind of fold, you know? Whereas like when you just call here, now he's thinking we're weak and he's just going to barrel us off on the turn. So I know there's going to be a lot of gross turn cards here, but you know, the hearts come in, maybe I don't know, 10 comes, just a lot of cards like that could complete a straight or something like that. But overall, I really like Simon's decision here. The guy who's got no money beside us, he folds, and we go to a turn. So, well, it does come at 10, but at least it's not the 10 of hearts. So I'm really not too worried about that hand overall. I mean, the guy's got a pot size bet left, and he sticks it in. So this is a spot in the hand where I'm going to disagree with Simon's decision here to fold. For me personally, like when I have top two, and so I started this hand by talking about stack sizes, and this is a perfect description of why, a perfect explanation of why I started this hand talking about stack sizes. When I've got top two against a 50 big blind stack, I hate to say that I do something 100% of the time in poker, because you shouldn't be doing too many things 100% of the time in poker, but this would be one of them. You know, I'm not going to fold top two unless the board just goes crazy. Like if the board went ace of hearts, queen of hearts, okay. And he shoves the river, okay. I can get away from my king jack. But in this spot, we're only on the turn. You know, there's no draw, no major draws. There's no crazy board run out yet. This is just a snap call for me. There's just no way that I'm going to be folding in the spot. I mean, if he somehow has pocket sevens or something, good for him. But again, I've just seen this kind of acting tough kind of pot size bet into like three players so many times with weak, not terrible hands, but hands that top two is just way ahead of. So this is a spot where I'm just not folding. I don't think that this is a good fold. I think that, you know, it's okay to look to make hero folds in poker. You definitely, if you want to get ahead in poker, you need to make some really disciplined folds at times. But I don't think that this fold was made for good reasons. This is a loose and aggressive player. Like I said, I don't believe that a player who has a really strong hand is just going to be potting it straight ahead like this. And quite frankly, we have the board crush. It's really hard for him to have a better hand, you know. And also look at the board on the flop there. I mean, what is he actually representing? Well, would he really just call pre-flop with pocket kings or pocket jacks? Probably not. So you got to put him specifically on like pocket sevens or something like that if he has a nut hand. Most of the time here, we're definitely ahead, and I'm just snapping it off there on the river. And expecting to win most of the time. So, but let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. Make sure you like the video if you enjoy this kind of analysis. Make sure you subscribe to my channel as well if you want to see a lot more hand history reviews like this. And lastly, make sure you pick up a copy of my free poker ebooks called Massive Profit at the Micros. It's the link in the description below. It's a free 50-page ebook that'll give you my entire strategy on how I beat these lower limit games like this. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com.